These days, it is not unusual to hear about people challenging themselves by climbing mountains or jumping out of planes. The man you're about to meet does all that, but he is unusual. Erik Weihenmayer redefines what it means to live a life of adventure.
Climbing is sort of like a celebration. I love the feeling of the wind on my neck. And the feeling of the rock as my hand's in the crack.
Watching 29-year-old Erik Weihenmayer climb a mountain, it is easy to be impressed. But it is even more remarkable because Erik is blind. He was born with a rare eye disease called retinoschisis, which slowly unraveled his retinas when he was a child. Each day he woke up, he saw less, until finally at the age of 13, he was in complete darkness. What was the last thing you remember seeing?
Faces. I remember the face of my grandmother. I remember the face of my brother Eddie, and the face of my mom, and the face of my dad. And I remember looking at a picture of me. That's probably what I miss the most, is not seeing people's faces.
Erik hated being blind. He was afraid he would have to depend on others to live. It was on a trip for blind teenagers that he discovered climbing.
I remember my instructor just saying, I scan the rock with my eyes, you're just gonna have to scan it with your hands, and I don't know whether it will work as well, but that's what you have, so that's what you gotta do. And it didn't work that great at first, but it worked good enough that I thought I could do better. And I just loved it.
And he has accomplished what others only dream about. He has climbed Alaska's Mount McKinley, the tallest peak in North America. He has scaled Yosemite's El Capitan, sleeping on a cliff overnight. He was even married on a mountain, Africa's Mount Kilimanjaro, to Ellen. You probably know best why he drives himself to do what he does.
I think everybody needs some kind of adventure and feel alive. I think he's taught me that, you know, that you got to live your life filled with as much adventure, as much spark as you can.
That can-do attitude toward life helped Erik become a school teacher.
I try to look at my blindness, my disability, as something that really enriches me and fulfills me.
And even though he's now climbing full-time, he still takes time to work with disabled kids, helping them to gain a sense of adventure. How important is it for you to be involved in those kinds of events?
You know, when you're 10 years old and you're in a wheelchair, you just don't know what your life holds for you. It just sort of gives them the feeling that, hey, you know, I'm going to do some great things in my life, and it gives them the ability to go forward with a little bit more confidence.
Okay, you're going to come up a slab.
Erik and his climbing partner Jake are taking me on my first rock climb about 20 miles outside Cheyenne, Wyoming.
The climb is easier than this.
We will climb the cracked face of Vedauwoo.
So are we gonna go like anything as dramatic as that? Straight up, or
we're gonna go a lot higher than that.
Really?
Yeah, we're gonna go that one length, and then we're gonna go up another rope length.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
okie dokie. You're using the ski poles kind of like where your feet are gonna be, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But in this kind of circumstance, you can't really plant them. So you're guessing, really.
Yeah.
Are you?
It's kind of guesswork.
It is not every day that you put your life in the hands of a blind person, but that is just what I'm about to do.
I know it's probably weird, but just try to eliminate the blindness thing from your head. Don't think there's a blind guy up there holding my life. When we go up here, you need to trust me.
Erik takes the lead position, the most dangerous because there is no rope ahead to catch him. It is his job to place the spring-loaded camming devices into the crack. If he chooses the wrong size, there will be nothing to break our fall.
When you're climbing blind, you have to be really systematic. You have to slow down and force yourself to really feel every part of that rock. And if you panic and your hands race all around, you might find it, but you might not, and it might actually be the reason why you fall.
Yay, Erik!
KN, you're on belay. You can climb.
Climbing!
To reach Erik's position, I will have to climb the first 165 feet up the mountain.
This rope is really strong, so don't worry.
Okay. I didn't know I'd be this scared.
You're fine.
I'm slipping.
There's a quote I have on my computer, and it says, "Striving for a goal can sometimes be shallow. Life is sustained on the side of the mountain, not." I love that quote because that's what I feel about climbing. You know, I love getting to the top, but really the most fun is getting there and climbing and being around your friends and the camaraderie that you feel.
The scariest part of the climb is at the top, nearly 320 feet up. Here you have to wedge your body inside the rock at an angle that makes it impossible to see where to put your feet.
Man, I just have no place to go.
It is my first glimmer of what climbing blind must be like for Erik, and how you can be easily overcome by fear.
Come on now.
I've always struggled with fear, but when I'm smart, I try to push that fear to the back of my brain and really just concentrate on what I need to do to stay safe and get up the rock face.
When you reach this point, it is easier to understand what Erik has been working so hard to achieve.
High five.
So it's going to be faster on the way down?
I think the image of a blind person climbing, you know, some of the hardest mountains in the world is really powerful and would really shatter people's perceptions about disabled people. I'm hoping that blind people, disabled people will keep progressing and evolving to the point where they're doing things that people would never imagine blind people doing. And when blind people are no longer inspiring, no matter what they do, that's when I think the world will be a perfect place.
Sure. Erik's next goal is to organize a climb up the tallest mountain in Antarctica.